Good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in to our webinar today. And it's I'd like to say it's a lovely day, but it's not. Actually, we're actually filming this session today from our Wollongong head office, and it is raining something terrible here. If we were farmers, we'd be very happy. We're not farmers, we're real estate agents, so it's causing us some problems. So if you have some issues with the relay today, please let us know by questions, and we'll endeavour to fix it up and answer your questions as they come through. It's wonderful to be with you, and as I say, thank you so much for tuning in. It's just great to be part of this wonderful development that we've been looking at now for a number of times, and we've finally done a listing with the developers, which is Vicland from Victoria, a developer that we've had many years of joint business ventures with, and they've always delivered quality dwellings on time, and our clients have been extremely happy with them, and the projects that they've developed have performed magnificently, not only from capital growth aspect, but also from rental quality and value for money, and created great yields. So wonderful to be involved with Vicland again. And this one is that we're looking at today is in Brisbane, and Brisbane is a market, as we're probably all astute investors, we know it's been a little bit quiet over the last 5 to 10 years, and that's been due to a lot of the activities and people's focusing on the Melbourne and Sydney marketplaces. Well, now Melbourne and Sydney have become very expensive, as we're all aware of, and now the focus is on Brisbane and the surrounding areas in Queensland, which are performing quite well. So we have Coterie here today to talk to you about. It's a wonderful development. It's 26 levels. 2 towers. It's the St Paul's Tower and the Alfred Tower. These towers are magnificent. This building is well underway. Construction has commenced nearly 12 months ago and will be completed coming into the later part of next year. The pricing is important. The pricing starts at around $344,700 for a 1-bedroom apartment, and it progressively goes up. The 1-bedrooms get up to $380,000, $400,000, and the 2-bedrooms come in at $500,000, $550,000, and the 3-bedrooms are coming just close to $1 million. Now we can start talking about the product and show you it, and if you have any questions, please send them through and we'll endeavour to answer them. Brisbane is the marketplace now that everyone is telling us is the place to go to. We have massive amounts of information from all property experts throughout the whole of Australia, and they're predicting that Brisbane will be the capital city in Australia, the 3rd largest city in Australia. It'll be the city that will produce the best results for property investors and property owners over the next 5 to 7 years. And one of the reasons for that is its price point, and also like to say it's the climate. Climate is driving a lot of people there. We have a wonderful stable climate, quite warm in the summer, but throughout the year it's quite a basic warm, pleasant climate, and a lot of people from Melbourne are migrating up. In fact, the migration stats are very large of what's going on into Brisbane right at this point in time. If you have a look at the migration, interstate migration now represents 24,000 plus people moving from the other states into Queensland. 24,000. So Queensland is the #1 populous state for interstate migration. What are they going there for? They're going there because of affordability, and they're going there because there's jobs there. Now Queensland, as you know, is probably the most resource-rich state in Australia. It has massive holdings of coal and other minerals throughout there, and coal pricing throughout the world, coal pricing throughout the world has risen rapidly, and we're exporting massive amounts of coal now. The Adani coal mine I believe, will be something that will be moving forward early in the new year, and that will create between 7,000 to 10,000 new jobs, which will also give emphasis for workers to come into the area. Where they're going to live, a lot of them will live in the Brisbane CBD and in those areas where all the services are, where the shopping is, where the theatres are, where the nightclubs are. They'll all live in the area of the CBD. And this property, the Coterie, is actually based in Fortitude Valley, which is an upmarket suburb, relating it to the Toorak area in Melbourne, and also probably around the Surrey Hills area and Chatswood in Sydney. And we're looking at property prices at virtually half the price, comparable prices to the suburbs in the southern states. And as I say, the pricing is very, very, very good. So you have the fun and the sun, and this is a big attraction for people interstate to move there. Sometimes they say you get 3 seasons or 4 seasons in one day in Victoria, and I've been in Victoria and I've experienced that Victoria's a beautiful place to live, but Queensland's got the fun and the sun, but also very affordable properties. And this is part of Fortitude Valley, and this is kind of the infrastructure that you've got there. When I go there, I'm amazed at the quality of the shopping there, the fruit shops, the grocery shops. They're all very upmarket, and lots of high-priced motor vehicles parked in the street, the Audis, the BMWs, etc. So this is a very wealthy area, Fortitude Valley, where this Coterie property is. So Brisbane has left the station. Now is the time to climb aboard. It's Brisbane's turn to bask in the sunlight, and now is the time to act. Migration from interstate and overseas has nearly doubled over the last few years, and jobs growth was at a 10-year high in late 2017. The lower Australian dollar, which is assisting marvellously with increased tourism and exporting of our commodities, goods and services. This is an article published in Property Update on March the 13th, 2018. So we have massive infrastructure, massive jobs, and also fun in the sun. Brings people, and I suppose they loosen their wallets when they're out there having a good time. Universities, a high level of education throughout the city of Brisbane, massive schools. What impresses me when I go to Brisbane is actually the road system, the transport system, and also the tunnel system, which runs right under the city of Brisbane. It takes you from the city of Brisbane out to the airport in 10 to 12 minutes. No interruptions, no intersections, no traffic lights at all. From the centre of the city into the Brisbane airport in 12 minutes. It's quite a wonderful system that they've got there. And they're spending more and more money on infrastructure. And Brisbane's population today is 2.5 million. And they say in the next 35 to 40 years, it'll be close to 6 million. So how can you afford not to invest while the property prices are at these record low prices? Half the price of what you can buy in Sydney, comparable properties, comparable locations, and half the price again is what you can buy in the Melbourne capital in Melbourne. The Brisbane apartment market is at a turning point. Average sales price in the Brisbane apartments market increased by 87,000 to a high of 767,000. And this is the research revealed by UBIS. There are a limited number of projects entered the market, so we're not going to see that level of supply come through, and this will give demand an opportunity to catch up. This is quite a recent article on the 24th of August 2018. Now, we're not talking about 767,000. You can buy a beautiful two-bedroom apartment for just over $500,000 in this wonderful development. And this is the river, the Brisbane River, which is you can see this from the building itself. You can actually see the outerscape of the Brisbane CBD. You're very close to it. You're only 2 minutes away from the CBD of Brisbane. And the Coterie expected completion is September 2019. That'll make it a Virgo, so it's a very good opportunity to invest. Anything that's Virgo is promotional, it's a go setter. I'm a Virgo myself, so this will be wonderful for you to get involved. 26 levels, 2 towers, as I say. We've got St Paul's Tower and Alfred Tower, and these towers are located right beside 2 wonderful quick train stations into the CBD out to the airport. We've also got a share car arrangement for people that buy a 1-bedroom there with no car parks. There are 1-bedrooms in there with car parks, but if they buy a 1-bedroom with no car park, we'll have no trouble renting that, because the people that rent it, if they need a car, they will share car, and that's only 20 metres from the front door, that business which will operate and look after our tenants in there. As you can see, large floor-to-ceiling glass, plenty of natural light, plenty of flow-through ventilation, and the complex have wonderful gymnasium and swimming pools and that, so we're going to get premium rents, and the rents I would say would be close to 5% return on these apartments. And this is the sky deck overlooking the city of Brisbane. Wonderful view. This is available to each and every tenant and their guests and their visitors come along. They can sit up there, have their barbecues, have their drinks, whatever. It adds value to your property. This is a swimming pool, and can you imagine swimming in here in the twilight of the evening? A nice bottle of champagne sitting there, very romantic, but also it adds value to what you're doing and buying this property. If you went back 20 years ago and you said, well, I'm going to buy something in Brisbane, you would have paid 20 years ago $80,000 to $90,000 for the equivalent today, and in 20 years now they're $350,000, $400,000, $450,000, $500,000. Just fast forward to the next 10 to 15, 20 years and you're going to have a wonderful investment here that will increase increase in value, and also the rents will gradually go up each year by around $10 or $15 each year. We're expecting those rents to increase. We've experienced this in previous projects that we've sold in Brisbane, and now we're looking to Brisbane to be the market leader throughout the all major states in Australia. We believe that Brisbane will move faster than Melbourne's population and also Sydney's population over the next 5 to 7 years because of affordability, and there's plenty of jobs. So this is the city, as you can see. The Coterie is right in the middle of the Fortitude Valley, close to everything that you need. When you go there, you've got the shops, you've got the theatres, you've got the playgrounds, you've got the nightclubs, you've got all the wonderful things there. But most importantly, you've got hospitals, you've got schools, you've got transportation. All these wonderful things are at the doorstep of this wonderful development. And starting price from $344,200, 1, 2 and 3 bedrooms. They say the 1 bedrooms go from $344 up to $420 depending on where it is in the building, and also if you require a car park there. The $344,200 does not have a car park, but it's not needed because if we get 25 to 30 people coming through the building to rent, at least half of those people will have no car, no need for a car, and you can afford to rent this $344 apartment for around $350 to $370 a week, and they can afford to pay that. So rather than with a car park over $400 where they'd have to pay $400 a week, they will jump in and rent the one without the car park. So 1, 2 and 3 bedrooms, sun decks and swimming pool, private rooftop retreat, al fresco entertainment zone, just 1.5 kilometres away from the CBD of Brisbane, the 3rd largest city in Australia, and 10 minutes commute to the airport. That's the Brisbane airport, which is just about to engage and put another runway in there, which will lift up the capacity of that airport. 15 minutes walk to the bustling James Street, which has got all the shops, etc. And the Brisbane schools are all within a 3-kilometre radius. The underground station's walking distance from Tower 1 and across the road. So just a few short steps and you're in the station, into the city. In either building, from either Tower 1 or 2 Tower, you have stations at your doorstep there which will take you into the CBD or out to the airport, or even if you'd like, down to the Gold Coast. So this is something that the developer has, thankfully, has given us a special offer today, and we're very supportive of this developer, and we think this is a wonderful offer. If you buy a Coterie apartment off this webinar today, or sometime in the next 2, 3, 4 weeks, we can get together by registering your name, there'll be a $25,000 rebate, a $25,000 rebate paid to you on settlement. So take into account the $344,700 apartment, that becomes $319,000. That's a very good buy. This $25,000 is paid by the developer to you at settlement. The solicitor will do that during the settlement process, and it's limited to people looking at this webinar today. Special, so for attending today's webinar, only when you purchase a Coterie apartment. This is something that ParkTrent are actually providing for you on behalf of the developer. We're going to give you a trip to Thailand. Now this is absolute Twin Sands Resort and Spa, magnificent quality resort in Thailand, and we'll provide 7 days accommodation and airfares for 2 from any destination within Australia, because we have a lot of people logged on today from all over Australia, and this is something that, so every apartment that we sell in the Coterie, we will provide you with a trip to Thailand, airfares paid, and 7 days accommodation. This is a wonderful offer, and that can be taken any time within 2 years of you settling your apartment. So you know what you need to do to qualify, to find out more, so we can send you out an information package on this development. I'm available for personal interviews if you so wish. Book your personal appointment now to secure your place in this investment opportunity. So log on and put your information on there, what your requirements are, what you'd like to find out, and we can send you all that information, and then maybe within a short period of time we can meet with you personally and secure one of these wonderful apartments in this top development. Understanding the market throughout the whole of Australia has had a slight correction now. These prices, as you already know, and your research will tell you, your savvy investors, that these are good prices, and with the added advantage of the $25,000 rebate. This is limited to the first 6 or 10 sales. I think we can get Vicland to cover 10 sales in this project with the 25,000, and we will certainly provide the Thailand trip for the 10 sales as well. We have a question. Now we have a question coming through.
So the first one comes from Matt in Bar Beach.
In Bar Beach. Yeah. Where's Bar Beach?
New South Wales.
New South Wales.
And he says, I will be moving to Queensland in the middle of next year, looking to purchase a 1-bedroom apartment. It will be my first home. What government assistance am I entitled to?
Well, Matt, if you're moving to Queensland in the middle of next year, this would be an opportune time for you to secure one of these apartments, because not only will you get a wonderful government assistance package, you'll have the $25,000 coming to you from the developer as well, and also the opportunity. I take it you've 1 bedroom, you may have maybe married, or you have maybe engaged. You can take your wonderful partner to Thailand for 7 days, so you've got that facility as well as then the government incentive. Now the government incentive would be $15,000 for first home buyers grant, and stamp duty with 0 up to $750,000. So just go back over it. You've got a $15,000 government grant for first home buyers. That's providing you qualify for that. You can never have owned a home and lived in a home before to qualify for that government grant, and also you receive full stamp duty concessions on that property. So there's a saving there of $15,000 and $13,000 stamp duty. There's $28,000 stamp duty and government concessions that you're going to save, and also the $25,000 from Vicland, the developer of the project. So you're looking at somewhere in the order of $63,000 that you're going to be saving. $63,000. It's time for you to do this right now, Matt. Can you believe this wonderful offer that we've got for you? So just go back over. $15,000 from the government, $25,000 from the developer. The stamp duty is paid by the government. There's no payment of stamp duty. That's saving from about $13,000. So you've got 15 and 25, that's 53,000, and then you also have the trip to Thailand. So look forward to talking to you very soon. Have another question?
Yeah, another question. So from Ravi in Blacktown, would I be better getting a 1-bedroom or 2-bedroom for investment? Do I need a car park?
Well, Wiley, we get asked this question quite regularly by investors, a 1-bedroom or 2-bedroom. My answer to that, in a standard answer that I give to all my clients that ask this question, is it's what you can afford. Naturally, the 1-bedroom is something that's very affordable, and it's affordable for people to buy. It's also affordable to rent. And as I've said earlier in the presentation today, that 1-bedroom, we will have plenty of people that have no need for a car, because you've got the availability to rent a car from next door, from car share, that's next door, that's located close to the premises. And with the transport system in Brisbane, it's very unique, so you don't need a car. But if you can afford to buy a 2-bedroom apartment with a car park there, my suggestion would be you go that way, because you've got a high level of rent, high level of tax deductibility, and by having expend more money, you'll have high levels of capital growth going into the future. It'll be a very desirable property. But you have to buy what you can afford to buy, Matt. And we have another question. So we have plenty of questions today. Please keep them coming.
All right, so we have one from Matt who says, hi Ron, I already have 3 properties in Melbourne. How would it affect my land tax bill if I buy another property in Queensland?
And this is from Matt in Melbourne. So Matt, you have 3 properties in Melbourne, so you're already reached and passed the threshold in Victoria for land tax component. You now have we're forced as investors, when we do have a number of properties, to buy properties in all the states and territories. I might add that the only territory in Australia out of all the states and territories that has no land tax is the Northern Territory. But because you have 3 properties in Victoria, you're already up there paying land tax somewhat. I don't know what the value of your properties are, but I would say that you would be pressing on the door to pay land tax right now. Queensland's land tax threshold is in excess of $600,000, so you could buy 1 or 2 apartments in this building in particular, the Coterie, and you will be paying no land tax. So my suggestion is don't buy any more in Victoria. We're forced to buy in the other states and territory, and what a wonderful opportunity to buy in this wonderful development now, particularly with the 2 incentive programs we have, the rebate from the developer and also the trip to Thailand. Make a move from that, beat the land tax syndrome. I hope that answers your question. Another question?
Another question.
And we're kept busy here. A lot of people must be indoors because of the bad weather.
This one's from Margaret in St Maurice, South Australia, who says, I keep hearing reports about Sydney and Melbourne markets correcting and prices falling. What is going to happen in Brisbane and Queensland? Is it safe to invest there?
Margaret, it's a very good question, and it's something that no one has a crystal ball for. But when we talk about the Brisbane market versus the Sydney market and the Melbourne market, I just want to cover the Melbourne market and the Sydney market. They have been going quite well for the last 5 to 6 years. In fact, the stats are telling us that Sydney and Melbourne property prices have increased by some 70% over the last 5 to 7 years. In fact, we have areas that we've been selling properties in 4 to 5 years, and the properties have actually gone up 100% in the Melbourne outer ring area. And if you look at the outer ring area, particularly around the new airport facilities that we have in Western Sydney, property prices have gone up there 100% in the last 3 to 4 years. Now, where does Brisbane sit in this? Brisbane has been, if you like, the slowest of all the three major cities in Australia, the Melbourne and the Sydney, the slowest of all of them. And the reason being is there's been a little bit of oversupply there in the past few years. That oversupply has slowly been evaporating. We're now going into a market where there's a bit of undersupply. And because the smart investors throughout Australia, and not only Australia, but throughout the whole world, are looking at the opportunities within Australia. And they've been told by all the experts and the panel judges, throughout the country, Brisbane is the next place to go. We're sitting here, we have all these wonderful incentive programs for you to become involved in property investment right now. So where do you go? You go to where the best opportunity is, and we believe the pricing in this project is wonderful. The incentive programs are great and genuine. You need to make a move and do it as soon as you possibly can. So we're looking at Brisbane as being the next property price to rise. In fact, Brisbane is next to Boomsay's investment experts. This is correspondence that we're getting every day running across our desk because we subscribe to all these people that present information throughout Australia. All the experts present it, we get it through over our desk via our computers, and they're telling us that Brisbane is the place to go right now. Do we have any more questions?
Yeah, so we've got one more from Sarjo in New South Wales, who says, there's a couple of questions. Are there price differences between the towers? And what kind of stamp duty concessions are available in Queensland? Well,
there's no difference in pricing between the towers. The price is engaged by the size and the location of the apartment. Every apartment is priced individually, so there's no difference. It depends. You need to sit down, look at the floor plans, look at the location of the apartment, and we can give you those pricing. The stamp duty concessions, there's no stamp duty concessions at all in Queensland other than for the first home buyers. So if you're buying a property in Queensland, the stamp duty is full stamp duty as it is now in all the other states throughout Australia. We used to enjoy the benefit of having concessional stamp duty in Victoria. We don't enjoy that anymore. It's now full stamp duty. But then again, if you're not in the game, you can't win the game. Now, what we'd like to do, we've done our job today in informing you about this wonderful opportunity, and it is a wonderful opportunity. I know when I go back to clients that I've met 10 years ago and they say, Ron, we met you 10 years ago, you offered us the proposal 10 years ago, we didn't take it up, we seriously regret that opportunity now, can we get started? When we look back into 2018, in 5 or 6 years' time, and these apartments have gone up considerably and they've been rented, fabulous tax deductions in there, understanding that there's going to be some major changes, and the major change, if we do have a new change in government and the likelihood of a Labor government becoming the next government of Australia, capital gains tax will change substantially. There's going to be some changes to negative gearing. It will not affect this product because it's brand new. The changes will be on old established homes. But the big change for each and every investor today in this country is the discount for capital gains tax. The discount currently is 50% of any profits we make is absolutely tax-free. Under the Labor government's platform and proposal right at this point in time, we will pay tax on 75%. There'll only be a discount of 25%. So we need to make a move now. Any properties that we buy now, signing on the line, we don't have to settle on the property. As long as it's signed, that's the purchase date, it'll be grandfathered, and our arrangement will stay at the current arrangement where capital gains tax will only be paid on 50% of the profit. So this alone, taking into account the other incentives that we've got, the Thailand trip, the $25,000 rebate at settlement, this is a wonderful opportunity for you to become involved in a fabulous investment. So what we'd like you to do now is to book an appointment through the Skype on this program today, and we will send you out additional information. All that we spoke about today, we'll send you out a flip chart of this presentation, and then we can get together with you and meet with you and hopefully do some business. I'd like to thank you so much for becoming involved with us today. It's wonderful, and we'd like your feedback on our presentation and the quality of it, and if you'd like it to continue and be part of our family. Thank you so much.